Hey, David here with blogmarketingacademy.com with the reader question of the day. And today is from Jason Alsrud. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name right, but he's from the rscproject.com chiropractic blog. He's actually a chiropractor, and it's very unique branding over there, Jason. I think it's really cool what you've done with the site. So Jason's question is, looking back when you started your online business, what 3 things did you do that ended up being a huge waste of time and money? So really good question. It really got me thinking about the early days of my business and really thinking about what was it that I did that wasn't so smart in retrospect. So the first question, let me get my iPhone turned off. The first question was trying to save money by self-hosting my email list. Now, as you guys probably know by now, I'm a big proponent of Aweber. And Aweber is a really great hosting company. There's other great hosting companies for email as well. I'm actually giving some thought to Office Autopilot right now. You know, those are third-party things, and you have a separate monthly bill associated with using any of these things. Now, in the early days, like a lot of you guys probably, I was trying to save money by not getting an account with Aweber or any of these other companies because, yes, it cost money. I didn't want to do it. So I actually was using my own software that I actually personally created at one point to send out mass email. And that was a humongous mistake because what happened was that my software was not properly programmed to handle the bounces. So what happened was I had a lot of dud emails on the list that were not being cleaned off properly because my software wasn't equipped to deal with it. It was sending the email and that was it. So that was a big problem. And then I went and I bought a piece of software and still had the emails on my server, but basically was using this paid piece of software that I only had to pay for one time. And it was a PHP script basically. And, you know, that was an improvement because at least it was handling bounces. But at the same time, it was still sending out that email from my own server. And that is a problem. Now, these days, there are alternatives where you can actually rent or pay a smaller monthly fee for what's called SMTP. I think that's what it is. It's basically, anyway, it's basically a way where you can send your email from your own server, but via another server. Now, one of the solutions for that would be a company called SendGrid. So you might want to check out SendGrid. You can actually host your list on your server using a third-party script, and then you could send your email via a company like SendGrid so that they take care of the sending. So that will alleviate some of the problems. But you still have to maintain everything yourself. So that led me into Aweber, and obviously that's their job to make sure everything goes right, and I think it's money very, very well spent. So that was definitely something I wasted a lot of time on in the beginning. Number 2 was making my own content management system. Now, I'm not thinking that this is something you guys are probably going to do. I mean, I come from a programming and tech background, and I'm actually a fairly decent programmer. So at the time, this seemed like a good idea, and I knew how to do it. So I created this thing called Mira Server, basically in order to power my own website at PCMech.com. And it was decent software, but then there's WordPress out there, and WordPress was free and it was growing like crazy. It has a lot of capability. I mean, you could see what WordPress does now, and it's just an incredible piece of software. And the fact that it's free just blows my mind. So here I was with Mira Server, which I was the only guy in the entire world that knew how that thing worked, which means that I'm the only guy that could fix anything or add any capability to it. Versus WordPress, which I had to pay nothing for. It's community supported. It has about 1,000,000,001 plugins for it. I was kind of stupid to sit there and try to make my own software. So again, a big motto for you moving forward is whenever possible, outsource to solutions that somebody else maintains it. Allow them, the people that are good at it, to do what they're good at, and you focus on the things that you're good at. I should have done that. I should have went with WordPress right from the beginning. Number 3 is not growing smartly. Now, when I put that on here as my third answer, I was thinking specifically of a time that I went out and I rented an outside office, and I actually had 2 employees in it at the time, and besides myself. And so the business had a bigger footprint, but I realized I did not need any of it. So basically, I was in a section of Tampa area called Ybor City, and the rent was not cheap. It's right there on 7th Avenue. I don't know how many of you guys might be familiar with that area, but it was not cheap at all to have that office. And then I had 2 employees in it. So the overhead was a lot higher, and I realized I didn't need any of it. I mean, I was just trying to grow more like image-wise by doing that than what I really needed. And so ultimately what ended up happening was I decided to ditch the office and go back to my home office, and that's where I'm at right now. And I had one of those employees for quite a while longer. Today I have just people who are paid on contract basis or virtual assistants, and that's all I've got. I probably will not hire actual employees. Again, it's nothing against it, but let's face it, it is a little bit more expensive, quite a bit more expensive actually, to hire that way. And I think when we're starting on, smaller online businesses and we're trying to expand, I think hiring independent contractors is a much smarter way to go. So that was one of my big mistakes, was just growing beyond what it was needed and not doing it in a very smart way. So anyway, really cool question, Jason. Thanks for sending it in. And if you'd like to send in a question that I can answer in the same format, then go over to blogmarketingacademy.com/ask and ask away. And I will see you guys a little bit later.